The distress signal. The deep space exploration vessel Horizon drifted silently through the void, its massive hull gleaming under the light of unfamiliar stars. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that showed their position relative to known space. 6 months into their mission to chart the Perseus Arm, they had ventured farther than any human expedition before them. "Captain, you need to see this." The voice belonged to Communications Officer Raj Patel, usually calm and collected, but now there was an unmistakable edge to his words. Vasquez made her way to the bridge, where the crew was gathered around Patel's station. The communications officer's fingers danced across his console, isolating and enhancing a signal that pulsed rhythmically through the ship's speakers. "It started 15 minutes ago," Patel explained. "Pattern repeats every 22 seconds. Definitely artificial, definitely not random." Dr. Marcus Chen, the ship's xenolinguist, leaned forward. "It's structured too precisely to be background radiation or stellar phenomena." "Can you decode it?" Vasquez asked. Chen adjusted his glasses, a quirky anachronism in an age of ocular implants. "I think it's a distress call. The mathematical sequence corresponds to universal warning patterns outlined in the Galactic Concordat." Vasquez frowned. The Galactic Concordat was less than 30 years old, established shortly after humanity's first contact with the Arcturian Alliance. Earth had barely earned its seat at the table of spacefaring civilizations, still regarded with suspicion by many older species who viewed humans as unpredictable and potentially dangerous. "Origin point?" she asked. Lieutenant Commander Jackson Cole, her executive officer, gestured to the star map. "Binary system, designation HD 219,134, approximately 3.2 light days from our position. Any registered colonies or outposts in that system?" "None," Cole replied. "It's outside Alliance territory, technically neutral space, though the Cerethi Imperium has made claims in this sector." Vasquez considered her options. The Horizon was an exploratory vessel, not a warship, though it carried defensive capabilities. They weren't equipped for rescue operations, but the Concordat was clear. All signatories were obligated to respond to distress signals when able. "Set course for the signal's origin," she ordered, "but approach with caution. Full sensor sweep once we're in range." As the Horizon altered its trajectory, Vasquez gathered her senior staff in the conference room. The ship's AI, projected an enhanced image of the binary system. "The signal originates from the third planet orbiting the larger star," Araya explained, her voice pleasantly modulated. "Atmosphere nitrogen-oxygen mix, gravity 0.92 Earth standard. Habitable, though the climate appears more arid than Earth norm." Dr. Eliza Washington, the chief medical officer, studied the readings. "Any life signs?" "Affirmative," Araya responded. "Evidence of large-scale metropolitan centers primarily in the northern hemisphere. Energy signatures indicate a civilization roughly equivalent to Earth's mid-22nd century technology. So not significantly behind us," observed Security Chief Liam Torres, a former Marine with implanted combat enhancements barely visible beneath his dark skin. "But definitely not ahead either." "The question is who's attacking them," Cole interjected. "The signal specifically mentioned an invasion force." Chen cleared his throat. "It could be the Cerethi. They'd been expanding aggressively for the past decade." Torres shook his head. "Cerethi don't usually waste time with invasion. They prefer orbital bombardment followed by colonization of the ruins." "Whoever it is," Vasquez said firmly, "our priority is to assess the situation and render assistance if possible. We all know the protocols." What remained unspoken was the reality of their situation. Earth's position in the galactic community was precarious at best. Humans had emerged onto the cosmic stage to find themselves classified as Deathworlders, species that evolved on planets with extreme conditions, resulting in physiological and psychological adaptations that other species found alarming. Humanity's history of warfare, their physical resilience, their aggressive problem-solving, and their adaptability had earned them fear and respect in equal measure. Most galactic species evolved in gentler environments, with longer lifespans, but slower reproduction and adaptation rates. "We'll reach the system in 18 hours, Cole reported. "I recommend yellow alert status until we know what we're dealing with." "Agreed," Vasquez nodded. "And prepare the shuttlecraft. If we need to make planetfall, I want to be ready." As the meeting adjourned, Torres lingered behind. "Captain, I should remind you that our primary mission is exploration, not intervention. The Admiralty was specific about avoiding potential conflicts." Vasquez met his gaze evenly. "The Admiralty also signed the Concordat, Chief. We don't ignore distress calls." Torres nodded, his expression unreadable. "Just making sure we're all clear on the risks, Mom." The Horizon dropped out of FTL on the outskirts of the HD 219,134 system, its sensors immediately sweeping the area for threats. What they found exceeded their worst expectations. "Multiple vessels in orbit around the third planet," reported Lieutenant Nadia Volkov from Tactical. "I count 16 ships of varying sizes. Design doesn't match any in our database." "Signs of conflict?" Vasquez asked. "Affirmative. Orbital debris consistent with destroyed satellites and defense platforms. Thermal readings indicate multiple ground strikes within the last 48 hours. The distress signal is still active," Patel added. "It's coming from a structure near the northern pole, possibly a government installation or military command center." Vasquez stood from her chair. "Are we in range for direct communication?" "Yes, Captain, but there's significant interference, likely deliberate jamming from the orbital vessels." "Break through it," she ordered. "Find me a channel." After several tense minutes, the main view screen flickered to life, showing a dimly lit room where 3 humanoid figures huddled around what appeared to be a communications console. Their skin had a faint bluish tinge, with elongated craniums and wide dark eyes. They wore simple garments that shimmered slightly, suggesting advanced fabrics. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We received your distress signal and have come to offer assistance." The aliens exchanged glances before one stepped forward. "I am First Speaker Thello of the Luminary Concord. We thank you for responding, though we feared none would come." The translator embedded in the ship's communication system rendered the alien's melodic speech into English with only a slight delay. "Please explain your situation," Vasquez urged. "Who is attacking you, and why?" "They call themselves the Vrax Dominion," Thello replied, his tone grave. "They arrived without warning 10 cycles ago. Their demands were simple: total surrender and integration into their empire, or annihilation. We refused." "The Vrax?" Chen whispered, his expression troubled. "I've heard rumors of them in xenoanthropological journals. Supposedly, they're religious expansionists who believe in forcibly uplifting other species through conquest." On screen, Thello continued, "Our defenses were inadequate. We are scientists and artists, not warriors. Our world will fall within days without intervention." Vasquez's mind raced through the diplomatic, ethical, and practical implications. The Horizon carried only a complement of 120 personnel, most of them scientists. Their defensive capabilities were designed for deterrence, not extended warfare. "First Speaker, we're not a military vessel," she explained. "Our capacity to assist is limited." A thunderous sound interrupted Thello, the image shaking violently. "They've begun another bombardment," he said, fear evident in his voice. "Our shields cannot withstand much more." "Send us all the tactical information you have on their forces," Torres interjected. "Ship capabilities, weapon systems, deployment patterns." Thello nodded. "Transmitting now. But human friends, you should know, the Vrax have encountered your kind before. They consider humans particularly dangerous. Their commander will target you specifically if you reveal yourselves." That gave Vasquez pause. How exactly did they describe humans? They called you Deathworlders, Thalo replied. Said your species was too unpredictable and resilient to be safely integrated. The Vraks rarely exterminate, preferring assimilation, but they have standing orders to eliminate humans on sight. Torres and Vasquez exchanged glances. The implications were clear. Humanity's reputation had preceded them, for better or worse. Transmission complete, Patel announced. We have their tactical data. Stand by. First speaker, Vasquez said before ordering the channel muted. She turned to her officers. Options. Cole was already reviewing the Luminary data. Their assessment is accurate. The Luminary are outmatched. Their technology is advanced in some areas, energy manipulation, computing, biotechnology. But their weapons and defenses are minimal. What about the Vraks ships? Torres asked. Formidable, but not invincible, Volkov replied. They rely heavily on energy weapons and have relatively thin armor. Their major advantage is numbers. Dr. Washington spoke up. Captain, the Luminary physiology is fascinating. According to these readings, they evolved on a world with minimal environmental pressures. Low gravity, stable climate, few predators. They're physically fragile by our standards. Classic non-Deathworlders, Chen nodded. Probably why the Vraks targeted them. Easy conquest. Vasquez considered their situation carefully. The Concordat obligates us to assist, but not at the cost of suicide. We need a plan that maximizes our advantages. Torres leaned forward, his cybernetic enhancements gleaming subtly under the bridge lights. Captain, I think I have an idea. The Luminary may lack physical resilience, but their technology could complement our own strengths. Explain. Their energy manipulation tech is centuries ahead of ours. If we could adapt it to our systems, we might be able to enhance our shields and weapons significantly. Meanwhile, we have something they desperately need. Deathworlders, Vasquez finished the thought. Humans trained to fight and survive. Exactly, Torres nodded. We don't need to outgun the Vraks. We just need to outthink them and make them reconsider the cost of this conquest. Vasquez reactivated the channel. First speaker Thalo, we will assist you, but we'll need to coordinate our efforts closely. The Horizon will approach your position under stealth protocols. Meanwhile, prepare to receive a small team of our specialists who can help integrate our technologies. Relief visibly washed over Thalo's alien features. We are eternally grateful, Captain Vasquez. But I must warn you, the Vraks are ruthless and determined. They have conquered 17 worlds before ours. Vasquez allowed herself a small smile. They haven't dealt with Earth humans before. First speaker, we specialize in beating impossible odds. As the communication ended, she turned to her crew. Deploy countermeasures to mask our approach. Ready the assault shuttle. Torres, select your best security personnel for the ground team. Dr. Washington, prepare medical protocols for potential Luminary casualties. And the Vraks fleet? Cole asked. For now, we observe and prepare, Vasquez replied. But make no mistake, if they force our hand, we'll show them exactly why Deathworlders are feared across the galaxy. The Horizon silently moved closer to the embattled planet, its human crew preparing for a confrontation none of them had anticipated when they set out to explore the stars. But as Captain Vasquez knew all too well, exploration and survival often went hand in hand for species born on Deathworlds. Deathworlders unleashed. The assault shuttle descended through the atmosphere of the Luminary homeworld, its stealth systems engaged to avoid detection by the Vraks fleet. Inside, Chief Torres briefed his team of 6 security specialists, all veterans with combat experience, all products of Earth's higher gravity and evolutionary pressures. The Luminary Command Center is located beneath this mountain range, Torres explained, pointing to the holographic display. Their shielding technology has kept the Vraks from detecting it, but those shields are failing. Our mission is to reinforce their defenses and gather intelligence on Vraks' capabilities. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez, the team's combat engineer, studied the schematics. Their energy matrix looks compatible with our systems. I could probably boost their shield efficiency by 30% with the equipment we brought. Good, Torres nodded. Remember, these people aren't soldiers. They've never experienced warfare on this scale. They'll be terrified, possibly in shock. Why not evacuate them? Asked Sergeant Y. Chen, checking the seals on his combat exoskeleton. Torres shook his head. 2 reasons. First, there are billions of luminary. The horizon can carry maybe 1,000 at most. Second, this is their homeworld. They have nowhere else to go. So we teach them to fight, said Corporal Amara Okafor, the team's weapons specialist. We teach them to survive. Torres corrected. Fighting will be our job. The shuttle touched down in a concealed hangar carved into the mountainside. As the team disembarked, they were met by a delegation of luminary, led by a female who introduced herself as Sayla, Chief Science Director. Thank you for coming, she said, her translator rendering her melodic speech into English. Few would risk themselves for strangers. Torres nodded respectfully. Humanity knows something about facing overwhelming odds. We're here to help you even those odds. The luminary facility was a marvel of elegant design. Crystalline structures channeled light throughout the underground complex, and advanced technology was integrated seamlessly with natural formations. But signs of strain were evident. Emergency lighting flickered intermittently, and wounded luminary were being treated in what appeared to be a meditation hall converted to a medical facility. Your defenses? Torres asked as they walked. Failing, Sayla admitted. Our shields were designed to withstand natural disasters, not concentrated energy weapons. The Vraks have methodically targeted our power generators. We have perhaps 2 days before total shield collapse. In the command center, First Speaker Thillo greeted them personally. Unlike the image transmitted to the horizon, in person the luminary leader's skin displayed subtle patterns of bioluminescence that shifted with his emotions. Currently a deep blue that Dr. Washington had explained indicated distress. The Vrak's commander has demanded our surrender again, Thillo reported. They've given us until the next planetary rotation to comply. Have they detected our ship? Torres asked. No. Your stealth technology is effective. Then we have surprise on our side, Torres said. That's more valuable than you might think. Rodriguez had already begun integrating their equipment with the luminary systems, working alongside their engineers with remarkable efficiency. Their energy manipulation technology is incredible, she reported. They can channel and amplify power in ways our science barely theorizes. Can you weaponize it? Torres asked bluntly. The luminary engineers exchanged troubled glances. We have never developed weapons of mass destruction, one explained. It violates our most sacred principles. I respect your principles, Torres replied. But the Vraks don't. We're not asking you to build planet killers, just defenses with enough teeth to make them reconsider this invasion. Meanwhile, aboard the horizon, Captain Vasquez watched as the Vraks fleet maintained its orbital blockade. Their ships were arranged in a precise geometric pattern that suggested a highly ordered military doctrine. Analysis complete, Araya reported. Vraks vessels show uniformity in design and tactical deployment. They favor overwhelming force rather than adaptation. Predictable, Cole observed. Species that evolve in stable environments often develop rigid thinking patterns. They excel at planned operations but struggle with chaos and improvisation. Exactly why Deathworlders like us are so unsettling to them. Vasquez nodded. We thrive on adaptation because our planet never gave us a choice. Dr. Chen had been studying the limited data they had on Vraks culture. Their society appears to be structured around absolutes. Their religion classifies species into ascendant and diminished categories, those who can be uplifted through integration, and those who must be eradicated. And they've placed humans in the latter category, Vasquez said grimly. Yes, but there's something else. Their belief system requires formal challenges and responses. They don't just attack, they announce their intentions and give their targets an opportunity to submit. It's ritualistic. Vasquez's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. So they expect a certain protocol to be followed, even in warfare. Precisely, Chen agreed. Deviate from that protocol, and we disrupt their entire operational framework. Vasquez finished. Tactical. Open a channel directly to the Vrax command vessel. Make it impossible for them to ignore. On the planet's surface, Torres's team had made significant progress. Rodriguez and the Luminary engineers had successfully integrated Earth technology with their energy systems, strengthening the shields protecting the command center. More importantly, they had adapted several Luminary energy conduits into makeshift defensive weapons. These won't win a war, Rodriguez explained to Thullo, but they'll give the Vrax something to think about. The first speaker's skin rippled with patterns of green and gold. Curiosity and hope, according to Dr. Washington's crash course in Luminary emotional signaling. Your species approaches problems differently than ours, he observed. Where we seek harmony, you seek advantage. It's how we survived. Torres replied simply. Earth tried to kill us 1,000 different ways. We had to become adaptable or perish. Their work was interrupted by a communication from the horizon. Chief, the captain is about to engage the Vrax directly, Cole reported. Be ready for anything. In orbit, Captain Vasquez stood on the bridge as the main view screen activated, revealing the interior of the Vrax command vessel. The alien commander resembled an upright reptile, with mottled gray skin and vertical pupils set in a triangular head. Elaborate ceremonial armor covered its torso, marked with symbols of rank and achievement. This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth vessel Horizon, she announced without preamble. You are attacking a peaceful civilization in violation of multiple provisions of the Galactic Concordat. The Vrax commander's pupils contracted to slits. Earth vessel, your presence is unexpected and unwelcome. The species-designated Luminary are scheduled for ascension into the Dominion. This is a sacred process you cannot comprehend. I comprehend conquest wrapped in religious justification, Vasquez replied coolly. Withdraw your forces immediately. The command hissed, displaying rows of sharp teeth in what might have been amusement or aggression. Your vessel is outnumbered 16 to 1 human. The species designated Homo sapiens has been classified as unsuitable for ascension. You will be eliminated if you interfere. Before you make that decision, Vasquez said, you should know that we've integrated our technology with the Luminary defenses. Additionally, I've transmitted our coordinates to Earth Fleet Command. If the Horizon is destroyed, a battle group will be dispatched to investigate. This was a calculated bluff. The nearest Earth fleet was months away, but the Vrax had no way of knowing that. You lie, the commander replied, but uncertainty had crept into its voice. Vrax records indicate you've encountered humans before, Vasquez continued. Then you know we're Deathworlders. We evolved on a planet that tried constantly to kill us. Our bodies are adapted to higher gravity, extreme temperature variations, and toxins that would incapacitate most species. We can endure pain that would send your warriors into shock. As she spoke, tactical data from Torres's team streamed across her console. The Luminary defenses were now operational, modified with human ingenuity to present a much more formidable challenge. This is your final warning, Vasquez concluded. Withdraw or face the consequences. The Vrax commander performed what appeared to be a religious gesture. The ascendancy does not retreat. Prepare tow. Vasquez cut the transmission. All hands, battle stations, tactical, target their lead vessel's propulsion systems. Fire when ready. The Horizon emerged from its stealth approach, energy weapons lancing out to strike the Vrax flagship's engines. The surprise attack caught the alien vessel unprepared, its shields flickering under the precise assault. Direct hit, Volkov reported. Their propulsion is compromised. As expected, the remaining Vrax ships are maintaining formation rather than breaking to pursue, Cole observed. They're waiting for orders. Their rigid command structure is a weakness. Vasquez nodded. Now for Phase 2. Signal Torres. On the planet's surface, Torres received the command he'd been waiting for. Activate the energy web, he ordered. Rodriguez and the Luminary engineers initiated their modified defense system. Across the northern continent, hidden energy nodes activated simultaneously, creating a lattice of force that enveloped the region. The Vrax ground forces, who had been methodically advancing toward population centers, suddenly found themselves cut off from orbital support as the energy web interfered with their communications and transport systems. The web is holding, Rodriguez reported. Their ground troops are isolated. Torres opened a channel to the stranded Vrax forces. Attention Vrax ground commander. Your orbital support has been neutralized and your communications are blocked. Your options are surrender or annihilation. In orbit, the Vrax fleet had finally begun to respond to the Horizon's attack, but their coordinated movements had become disjointed. The flagship, damaged and unable to maneuver effectively, could no longer coordinate their previously perfect formation. They're targeting us with everything they have, Volkov warned as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. Evasive pattern Delta, Vasquez ordered. Use the planet's magnetic field to disrupt their targeting systems. The Horizon dove toward the luminary world, skimming the upper atmosphere where magnetic interference was strongest. As predicted, the Vrax weapons struggled to maintain lock, their energy beams dissipating harmlessly. Their tactical doctrine doesn't account for atmospheric combat, Cole noted. They're trying to adapt, but their responses are slow. That's our advantage, Vasquez replied. We adapt faster because we've always had to. On the surface, the situation had reached a critical juncture. The isolated Vrax ground forces, realizing their vulnerable position, had launched a desperate assault on the Luminary Command Center. Perimeter breached in Section 4, reported Sergeant Chen over the tactical network. Enemy forces advancing. Torres led his team to the threatened section, where Vrax soldiers in powered armor were forcing their way through a damaged shield barrier. The aliens were physically imposing, taller than humans, with natural armor plating and enhanced strength. But they had evolved on a world with 0.8 Earth gravity, in controlled environments designed to minimize risk and maximize efficiency. They had never faced the chaotic, instinctive combat style of human Deathworlders. Engage at will, Torres commanded. Show them what Earthborn fighters can do. The security team moved with practiced precision, their bodies enhanced by both natural evolutionary advantages and technological augmentation. They fought not with brute force but with adaptability, constantly changing tactics to prevent the Vrax from establishing an effective counter-strategy. Okafor demonstrated why humans were feared in close combat, her movements unpredictable as she exploited weaknesses in the Vrax armor. Rodriguez remotely manipulated the facility's energy systems, creating localized shield failures that trapped enemy soldiers in containment fields. The Vrax, accustomed to enemies who either surrendered immediately or fought according to predictable patterns, found themselves outmaneuvered by a smaller force that refused to behave as expected. In orbit, the battle had reached a similar turning point. The Horizon, though outgunned, had managed to disable 3 Vrax vessels through precision strikes at vulnerable points identified in the Luminary data. Their formation is breaking down, Volkov reported with satisfaction. They're dividing into smaller tactical units. That's what we wanted, Vasquez nodded. Specific targeting, all available weapons, hit their command and control nodes. The Horizon executed a series of maneuvers that would have subjected its crew to lethal forces if not for inertial dampeners and their natural resilience. The Vrax, caught off guard by the ship's agility, failed to coordinate their response effectively. Direct hit on their central communication array, Cole announced. Their fleet coordination is collapsing. On the main view screen, they watched as the once perfect formation dissolved into individual ships attempting to compensate for the loss of centralized command. Some maintained their attack on the Horizon, while others broke off to address the planet-side anomalies created by the energy web. They've never encountered this type of resistance, Chen observed. Their doctrine doesn't account for it. Captain, Patil interrupted urgently, I'm detecting quantum fluctuations consistent with FTL communications. The Vraks are calling for reinforcements. Vasquez frowned. This complicated matters. The Horizon and Taurus's team had achieved tactical surprise, but they couldn't withstand a prolonged conflict against a larger Vraks force. How long until reinforcements arrive? Based on their transmission patterns, at least 12 hours, Patil replied. Then we need to end this before they arrive, Vasquez decided. Open a channel to the Vraks flagship. The Vraks commander appeared on screen again, its composure notably diminished. Human treachery, it hissed. You attack without proper challenge. I gave you fair warning. Vasquez replied calmly. Now I'm offering terms. Withdraw your forces from this system immediately. The Luminary are under Earth's protection. The Ascendancy does not recognize your authority. Reinforcements approach. They won't arrive in time to save your current fleet, Vasquez countered. And when they do arrive, they'll find this system defended by both human and luminary technology. She nodded to Cole, who transmitted data showing the modified defensive capabilities now deployed across the planet. The Vraks commander studied the information, its vertical pupils dilating slightly. Consider your position carefully, Vasquez continued. You can lose your current fleet and receive a humiliating report from the reinforcements about how a single human vessel defeated you, or you can withdraw with honor, reporting that the situation requires further assessment by your leadership. The appeal to the Vraks' hierarchical thinking was deliberate. Chen had emphasized their fear of failure in the eyes of superiors. After a long moment, the commander made the same ceremonial gesture as before. The Ascendancy will withdraw temporarily. But know this, human. The Dominion does not forget. We will return in greater numbers. And we'll be waiting, Vasquez promised. As the Vraks fleet slowly regrouped and began withdrawing from orbit, Torres reported from the surface that the ground forces were retreating as well, falling back to designated extraction points. We've won the day, he concluded, but the first speaker understands this is temporary. Agreed, Vasquez replied. Once the Vraks are clear of the system, have the luminary leadership prepare to board the Horizon. We need to discuss long-term defensive strategies. Hours later, with the immediate threat removed, Captain Vasquez welcomed First Speaker Thelo and his council aboard the Horizon. The luminary leader's skin rippled with patterns of blue and gold, gratitude and awe. Your intervention saved our world, Thelo said. We are eternally in your debt. The Vraks will return, Vasquez cautioned, with greater numbers and new tactics. By then, we will be ready, Sayla, the science director, replied. Her skin now displayed patterns of determination, a deep orange that Dr. Washington had rarely observed in their species before. Your people have shown us that adaptation is sometimes necessary for survival. We would propose an alliance, Thelo continued. Our technological knowledge combined with your tactical expertise and resilience. Together, we can create defenses that will make the Vraks reconsider their expansion into this sector. Vasquez nodded thoughtfully. This aligned with Earth's strategic interests, establishing allies in distant sectors while gaining access to advanced alien technology. More importantly, it fulfilled the deeper human drive to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. I'll need to consult with Earth authorities, she replied. But speaking for the Horizon and her crew, we would be honored by such an alliance. The concept of Deathworlders has always carried negative connotations in galactic discourse, Thelo observed, his skin shifting to thoughtful purple hues. Species like yours were viewed with fear and suspicion, but perhaps there is wisdom in the harsh lessons your world taught you. Lessons our people never needed to learn, until now. Earth shaped us in ways we're still discovering, Vasquez agreed. It made us stubborn, adaptable, and perhaps too willing to fight. But it also taught us the value of protecting life, especially when that life is different from our own. As the Horizon established orbit around the luminary homeworld, its human crew began the work of preparing for the inevitable return of the Vracs. For the first time, the galaxy would see that being classified as Deathworlders wasn't just about humanity's capacity for violence. It was about their determination to survive, and to ensure others survived as well, against any odds the universe might present. Far beyond the system, the retreating Vracs commander composed its report to the Dominion Ascendancy. It hesitated briefly before including a recommendation that human expansion be monitored closely. These Deathworlders were unlike any species the Vracs had encountered, unpredictable, adaptable, and seemingly unbound by the natural order that guided civilized development. Most concerning of all, they appeared to be teaching these qualities to others.